and they are all set to bring Warhammer to the screen. What's up guys, happy Friday, hope y'all are doing well. More Henry Cavill updates today. I did post a video recently with some updates about his upcoming projects, but this one I've been waiting for. Before we get into that, shout out to any new subscribers. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. If you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into this topic. So I have been waiting for an update on Warhammer 40,000 from Henry Cavill and Amazon Studios that they're going to be working together to produce a live action series of the video game that Henry Cavill has been vocally passionate about for quite some time. He did make the announcement a pretty long time ago. It was like the same time that DC decided not to move forward with his second Superman movie that he was supposed to do after his comeback announcement. He announced it around the same time as then. So it's been a while and we haven't really heard anything about it besides the fact that it's going to happen, but now there is finally an update. And Henry Cavill also took to Instagram to share some of the news as well. Update mentions that Games Workshop and Amazon Studios have finalized their deal. The creative guidelines are nailed down and they are all set to bring Warhammer to the screen. They now have a synopsis and are ordering for stories to be written, but it's going to be some years still before we finally see the project actually being released on Amazon Prime Video. So they have taken about a year, like the article mentions, to sift through all of these stories, through the lore, through the universe, you know, deciding which characters, stories, and things to include in the show. It mentions, you know, working on the thematic grit, the story arcs. So, that makes sense because when there's going to be live action iterations of video games, there's just so much for the studios to try to include. And that's where some of the disappointment comes from the fan side, because for people that are really familiar with the game, the characters, the stories, especially games that have like a pretty long history, the fans don't always feel completely satisfied because it feels like there's a lot of things missing or changed. And so I feel like it's pretty difficult to do, and a lot of times they just don't hit the mark for a lot of fans. The Last of Us is a good example of doing it right though. So I don't doubt that Henry Cavill and Amazon will follow along in that same vein, because Henry Cavill has always been very vocal about how much he cares about source material, lore, you know, actually staying true to those things and doing them justice. You know, that was some of the contention that he had with the writers on The Witcher. So I don't doubt that he's going to do it justice. He's also executive producing, so he's going to have a very heavy hand in the decision making, and he'll be starring in it as well. So they'll be working on the scripts next, and like it mentions, it says, trust us when we say everyone involved is laser focused on getting it all just right. And I definitely trust that. Personally, I don't even really know much about the game. I have been watching some gameplay with my husband recently and kind of getting an idea of what maybe to expect in the live action. I know there's a whole lot of lore and story, so it's definitely going to be interesting to see them bring it into a live action series. But the other Amazon project that Henry Cavill is working on, Voltron, is also a live action project, and I think that one's already getting into production. So it looks like, I guess we're probably going to see that one before this. I don't know, but that one is a little bit farther along as far as like production. So he is, you know, it seems like they're making a good partnership so far, and it'll be interesting to see how that continues. But we finally do have an update on the Warhammer. I think maybe some of it also had to do with the fact that a game just came out recently for this franchise. So I remember seeing Henry Cavill post that he was enjoying the game as well. So I wasn't worried. I think some people were worried like, is it going to be shelved? Is it still moving forward? Because there hadn't really been any updates about it. But when he posted that picture, I was like, oh, okay, they're still moving forward. It's just they're probably taking some time for this game to be released, this new one, give people time to play it, see what stories are involved in this one, so people respond to it. I think there's been a lot of good feedback about it actually. And so it makes sense why they were still working on how they wanted to do the live action. But I'm happy for him. I think it's gonna be really cool to see him take the lead on his own project, and something that he is really, you know, a fan of himself. So we'll make sure to stay updated on this and other projects also. But in the meantime, thank you guys for checking out the channel. Check out anything you might have missed previously, including the short section, and we'll see you next time.